Hey man, there's a moment in a man's life where he's just had enough. Enough of the games, enough of trying to prove his worth, enough of constantly over-investing and getting breadcrumbs in return. It doesn't always happen overnight, but one day, something inside him flips. A switch, a realization, and in that quiet moment, everything changes. He stops chasing, not because he's angry, not because he's bitter, but because he's finally centered. This is the confidence shift that ends chasing forever. And once you tap into it, brother, you'll never go back. Confidence isn't about being loud, aggressive, or always having the perfect comeback. That's surface level stuff. The real shift, the one that ends the chasing, is subtle, internal, and deeply rooted in self-trust. It's the kind of confidence that says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I refuse to beg someone to see it. You stop needing her to validate you. You stop looking for signs that you're enough, because you finally realize you've always been enough. You just needed to stop handing that truth over to people who couldn't hold it. This shift is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply moves differently. You stop double texting. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop trying to be more available just to keep her interested. You pull your energy back, not as a tactic, but as a truth. Because you're no longer in the business of proving your value. You're in the business of protecting it. And that shift from external validation to internal reverence is what makes you untouchable. When you're still chasing, you're basically telling her, my worth is whatever you decide it is. You might not say it directly, but your actions scream it, and she hears it loud and clear. Every time you overinvest too soon, every time you let disrespect slide, every time you rearrange your life for a woman who hasn't earned it, you're silently saying, please choose me so I can feel good about myself. But once the confidence shift happens, you stop handing out that power. You realize it was never hers to give. It's yours. Always has been. You also stop being fazed by her hot and cold behavior. One minute she's interested, the next she's distant. Before the shift, that would have had you questioning everything. Did I say something wrong? Should I try harder? But now, you feel her distance and you just lean back. Not because you're playing games, but because your peace is not negotiable. You don't match her chaos. You don't try to decode her silence. You let her figure it out while you keep moving forward. And that indifference to inconsistency, that's what makes her stop running. Because now you've shown her, you're not the one chasing anymore. You begin to operate from abundance instead of lack. Before, you might have seen every woman as a potential one. You'd cling to the connection. You'd get anxious when things slowed down. But after the shift, you realize she's not your only option. Peace is an option. Purpose is an option. Solitude is an option. You've built a life that's full enough without her, and that fullness makes you magnetic. Because now, she's not being chased. She's being invited into a life she can either align with or exit quietly. You also stop explaining yourself. Before, if a woman pulled away, you'd try to talk her into understanding you. You'd clarify your texts. You'd justify your tone. But now, you say what you mean, and you let it land. You don't chase after her perception. You don't soften your edges just to make her feel comfortable. You let her misunderstand you if she needs to, because you know that the right woman won't need to be convinced. She'll feel your authenticity. She'll respect your clarity. And most of all, she'll feel the difference between a man who chases and a man who chooses. This confidence also shows up in how you value your time. You stop dropping everything to be available. You stop waiting by the phone. You stop clearing your schedule to fit her plans. Instead, you prioritize your mission, your health, your peace, your goals. And when she sees that your life doesn't revolve around her, she stops taking you for granted. Because now you become a man she has to make room for, not one she assumes will always be there. And that shift in dynamic, that's when the chasing truly ends. This shift in confidence transforms how you speak. Your words slow down. You don't rush to fill silence. You let pauses breathe. And in that stillness, you radiate something she can't quite name, but she feels it. She senses that you're not afraid of the outcome. You're not trying to persuade her. You're not angling for her approval. And that calm detachment, that complete comfort in the unknown, it draws her in. Because now, your communication isn't about convincing. It's about revealing. You reveal your standards, your vision, your vibe. And then you let her decide if she can meet you there. Before the shift, you used to fear her walking away. Every conversation felt high stakes. You walked on eggshells, said the right things, avoided conflict just to keep the peace. But now, you're not afraid to lose a woman who can't respect your truth. You're not emotionally invested in convincing someone to stay. And that quiet confidence, that nonchalance rooted in self-worth, is what reverses the dynamic. She's no longer wondering if she can have you. She's wondering if she's enough for the man who doesn't need her to stay in order to feel whole. You also start noticing something powerful. Women begin showing up differently around you. More respect, less games, more consistency. Why? Because your energy doesn't leave room for nonsense anymore. You're not signaling, please like me. You're signaling, I already like me. That subtle shift forces everyone around you to level up or exit. And the ones who stay, they're not staying because you begged. They're staying because your presence demands alignment. You're not choosing out of desperation. You're choosing out of discernment. And that energy is rare and irresistible. One of the biggest differences you'll feel is in how you respond to her testing you. The old version of you would over-explain, get emotionally reactive, try to make her feel better. The man who's made the shift, he just smiles. Maybe says nothing, maybe walks away. Not to manipulate, not to hurt, but because he understands that his emotional state is no longer up for negotiation. If she's bringing confusion, chaos, or disrespect, he doesn't try to fix her, he just removes himself. And that energy, that unbothered clarity, it makes her sit with herself in a way no words ever could. You'll stop viewing her attention as a win. Before, a reply or compliment could make your whole day. But now, you're not high off her validation anymore. You're high off your own mission, off your own progress, off your own silence. You've outgrown the need for external reassurance, and that grounded, independent satisfaction in your own life becomes magnetic, because now she sees that she's not your emotional supply. She's a woman who has to contribute something meaningful to be a part of what you're building. What most men don't realize is that chasing is about fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. But the confidence shift that ends chasing is born from acceptance. You accept that some people won't choose you, that some women won't see your value, that some connections will fade. And instead of gripping tighter, you relax, you release. Because now, you understand that no woman can walk away from a man who truly respects himself, and if she does, she was never ready for what you were offering anyway. Another way this confidence shows up, you start protecting your softness. You no longer give emotional access just because a woman is attractive or temporarily sweet. You stop oversharing. You stop opening too quickly. You start filtering. And when a woman realizes your heart isn't something she can access on charm alone, she starts working for it. That work, those small efforts, that growing consistency is what makes the connection real, because now she's emotionally invested, not because you chased her, but because you required her to show up differently. Eventually, you'll realize something liberating. You were never supposed to chase in the first place. The version of you that thought chasing would win her over was just a man disconnected from his power. But now, you don't chase, you lead. You move first when it aligns, but you don't overextend. You give without attachment. You love without losing yourself. You stand tall, even if you stand alone, because your identity is no longer tied to someone's emotional availability. It's tied to your own standards, your own rhythm, your own peace. And the more you lean into this confidence, the more you realize you don't just want someone who chooses you, you want someone who matches you. A woman who brings clarity, not confusion, peace, not performance, alignment, not emotional games. And when you hold that standard, unapologetically, the right woman will rise to meet it. Not because you pressured her, but because you created a space so strong, so grounded, so masculine, that she wanted to be chosen by you on your terms, not hers. So remember this, man. Confidence isn't about chasing, it's about choosing. It's not about proving, it's about embodying. The day you stop chasing is the day you start attracting with intention, because you've stopped moving from lack and started living from power. That shift, that calm, unapologetic, unchased energy, that's what makes her question how she ever made you run in the first place. And from that moment on, the chase is over, for good.